world! Wow! Packed house, naturally so. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. We are here live at the Build studio in New York City. Oh man, am I ever excited for this one. Based loosely on the characters from the Archie Comics, Riverdale is a bold and subversive take on the wholesome town of Riverdale. We follow, it's a great title, we follow some of its teen residents who apparently run this town as they discover the darkness and dangers that bubble underneath the wholesome facade. Joining me in just a few short moments, oh man, Archie, Betty, Fred, and Alice themselves. That's right, KJ Appa is here, Lili Reinhart is here, Luke Perry is here, Mädchen Amick is here. How do you feel about that, guys? How do you... That's cool, right? That's a cool thing. Stoked. We're going to bring them out in just a second. But first, before we do this, is pretty cool. We have 2 clips from season 3 that we're going to take a look at right now. So, Luke, let's go ahead and run those clips.
We tried to stack the jury in Archie's favor. Women, mothers, but I don't know. Maybe it backfired.
You did everything that you could.
I don't know, Fred. Just think if I hadn't left Riverdale. I hadn't gone to Chicago.
I was here, and I couldn't stop Hiram Lodge from getting his claws into our son.
Dad, Mom, don't blame yourselves for what I did. Taking Hiram's side against you, Dad, was the biggest mistake I've ever made, but it was mine. It's on me. You guys are the best parents anyone could ask for. Everything you've done for me, I don't deserve it. Whatever happens to me on Tuesday, that is what I deserve.
No, you are a good kid. You got manipulated by a mobster.
But you do not deserve to be framed for murder.
Your mom, son, your mother and I will always love you.
Mom, what are you doing with my diaries?
I was talking to Edgar about them, and he feels, and I agree, you should burn them.
What are you talking about? Why?
You've been filling these pages with so much pain and suffering over the years. You need to let that go.
Okay, Dr. Glass says journaling is a perfectly healthy outlet.
And I respect what your therapist says, Betty, but these diaries are your past, and your past is crushing you. Edgar says that...
What, Mom? What does some guru who's running a Heaven's Gate commune for pregnant runaways and wives of serial killers have to say about my diaries?
We know that you look down on the farm, Betty. But Edgar has done nothing but help me. He's encouraged me to embrace everything that I was ashamed of and become the best version of myself.
Wait, Mom, I can't deal with this right now.
But isn't that the problem? You're not dealing with it. The trauma from last year, what happened with your father, that chick person, you're running around a mile a minute, and what you need to be doing is sitting still, listening to what your soul is telling you.
Okay, I'm listening to my soul, and what it's saying is get the hell away from your mother because she's been body snatched.
Oh man, guys, make a ridiculous amount of noise. Lili Reinhart, Mädchen Amick, KJ Appa, and Luke Perry on this stage right now. Keep going, a little more, a little more, a little more. Well, hello. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations, Season 3. You've all survived. You're in it. This was wonderful news. I'm very excited to see all of you.
For now.
Well, for now. And that's the beauty of the show. Anything could happen at any moment. But thank you for being here right now and hanging out with us. Congratulations. How's everybody doing? How's New York treating you? How are you?
Well, I checked the forecast this morning, and it said
unhealthy
air for sensitive people or something weird.
Yeah,
you know, it's New York.
Exactly. That seems about right.
Yeah, I just went to Grace Papaya, grabbed a hot dog, and kept going.
Usually, yeah. You've got it down. You've got your formula, your routine.
We went to Milk Bar last night.
Ooh, yeah. Very good.
That was
They have cereal milk soft serve, which is a first for me. It was really good.
Do you want to walk me through the emotions of that experience? Because that is that is something.
It was nice.
Speaking of crazy experiences, you guys were just at Comic-Con, I think yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that was a wild ride. I love everything we get to see coming out of there. I love a guy like Mark Ruffalo who puts on disguises and sneaks up on people on the floor. Do you guys ever venture out beyond the wall? Do you ever go out there?
You have to, and that's the way to do it. You got to put on a disguise. Put on a mask, walk the floor. It's great.
Did you do that this year, Lou?
Not at the New York one, but I
No.
did in San Diego. Yeah, put on a lucha libre mask. Just took off out through the crowd. It was pretty good.
That's pretty. Has anyone else partaken in this experience yet?
Cole has. I
Cole,
haven't.
of course, yeah. KJ, what about you? No,
Nah.
not
I'll
yet.
get you a mask. We'll do it.
Just walking to Comic-Con and away from Comic-Con is a great experience. There's people in full costumes, gathering outside, having synchronized dance moves. It's great.
Yeah, well, it's so funny. We had John C. McGinley was here last week because he was there talking about his show, and he calls it the Elvis experience, where like you get brought in like a back door and you go up an elevator, and then all your fans are waiting for you outside and all this stuff. And he made it sound so magical. And the cast of Daredevil came in and they said what they don't tell you is that back door you go in the same way the garbage comes out.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So it's a little
We're
less
like walking through the kitchens and walking by the trash.
Humid, it smells. It's
a journey.
Yeah. It's a journey.
And you've arrived here. Well, thank you so much. I'm excited to get into this. You know, speaking of yesterday, I saw something really interesting. We're going to jump right in. Lily, you were talking about how early on in the show's existence, it took a little time for everyone to kind of bond and come together. And I really was intrigued by that because as an actor, your whole gig is to get out there and be vulnerable and expressive. And I wonder, like, has the job gotten easier as you've all gotten closer and tighter? Has anything changed over time and just what the impact of that was?
I mean, I think it's always going to be difficult to be vulnerable when you act. It's always just a difficult thing to do and to get to that space. What's happening? I don't know.
It's a hot crowd.
Yeah. Okay. But you know, seeing these familiar faces and working with the same people, working with Mädchen when I have to be emotional is easy because you're working with someone that you trust and you can rely on. And I guess we're pretty lucky. It's easy to be emotional and vulnerable on our show because we all love each other and trust each other. So it's kind of like we know we've got each other's backs, and the other person on the other side of the camera, you know, whoever you're acting with is right there with you, and they're giving you back, you know, their best performance as well. So we're lucky. It's good. It's comfortable.
It's rare with the huge cast that we have with so many cast members that literally every single person kind of gets on with everyone. It's great.
Yeah.
And we've had 2 Reggies, so.
It's not bad. It's not bad. 2 Reggies is a good number of Reggies. So I've got to ask, coming out of season 2, you know, Fred didn't win the election. You guys narrowly escaped death at the hands of the Black Mask, a.k.a. Dad. You know, you're getting framed for murder. So coming into season 3, were you excited to return to Riverdale? Like, what are your emotions going in with so many dramatic stakes so high and so many things going on? How did you feel coming into this season? Was there stuff that you were like personally excited to dig into?
Yeah, well, I mean, I wanted to see how Alice was going to deal with living with and being married to a serial killer. And so it's 3 months later, the summer has happened, and she's dealing, I don't know if she's dealing accurately, but she's definitely dived into a cult.
Yeah.
To, you know, to heal the wounds. And, you know, she's like the perfect candidate because she's very vulnerable. So that I was excited to see how she was going to be handling that cliffhanger last season.
For sure. KJ, what about you, man?
Yeah, I was super excited. I was as soon as I found out about the whole kind of possible juvie storyline, I was really jazzed. I was excited for that.
You started doing a lot of pull-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to get in shape.
It's
for
good
that.
to see you getting back in shape. It's good because you really, you really
let
let
himself
yourself
go over the summer. Yeah.
Cheers, bro.
What about going to juvie got you excited, man? Just like it's doing a darker side, an even darker side of Archie than we've already gotten to see, or like?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's cool also because he's isolated. I think at the beginning of season 3, he's not used to not being around his best friends and his family. So it's cool seeing him in that position.
I know he's been distracted, but is it a safe assumption as a fan and as a viewer that Archie is not going to be able to put a lot of energy into his music career on this season? I feel like.
Yeah, definitely not at the moment. He's got more serious things going on. But I know we're bringing it back at some stage.
We are.
Yeah, he does get back into it.
All right, that's cool. Because as I watch all these things going on, I was like, this kid's going to write a hell of a bunch of songs at some point. Yeah. Everything he's going through, man. He's really got a lot of material to work with. Yeah. Luke, what about you down there, man? What are you excited about this season? I was excited to see Molly coming back and see you guys together on screen again.
That's always good. I was glad to not get elected mayor because
Why?
Yeah, wait, let's go into that.
any jerk can get elected. I think we've all seen that.
Oh.
Well said, sir.
Wasn't really
mic.
looking for any of that. But, Fred's a builder. I mean, literally, this is a guy that loves to work with his hands, loves to build stuff, want to get him back to doing that. That's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Sure. And Lily, how about yourself coming into season 3? There's so many unanswered questions for us and so many things going on. What were you excited to find?
I mean, I was excited because I was under the impression that Betty was going to maybe be happy, and I was wrong. I thought that maybe she'd catch a break, like, hey, her dad was the Black Hood. Could things get any worse? Probably not. Yes. The answer is yes. And so you see Betty kind of go through even more than you thought. This girl's just...
She's tough.
Not lucky, man.
Well, that's just it, right? Like, I was optimistic, too. I was
If you would stop
maybe...
sleuthing, maybe.
Well, you see, Betty puts herself in these situations where she wants to investigate. She wants answers. She doesn't trust the adults, so she needs to figure it out for herself. Right. And she takes it upon herself to do that. And then it gets her in trouble. And, she pisses off the wrong people. And...
Is some of that, you think, Betty looking for a distraction from everything and just like pouring herself into the sleuthing? Or is it just something else that she loves to do?
I mean, it's just something that she loves to do, especially with Jughead. Her and Jughead are kind of the duo that sleuth. Yeah. And,
sleuth and duo.
Yeah. At the beginning of the season, the first episode, you do see that, she did distract herself through the summer with a law internship with Mary Andrews and attorney McCoy. And it was basically a distraction from her dad. Her Alice is diving deep into confronting Hal and what that situation was, and Betty kind of took the opposite approach and just ignored it, pushed it to the bottom, and that's what she needed to do in order to survive. And so you do see that aspect of her distracting herself.
I was, like I was saying earlier, I was optimistic that maybe like Alice and Betty, there'd be this like bond through trauma, like a mutual experience. And based on the clip,
Nope.
Is that, as having a relationship where you guys have a majority of the time kind of been at odds, is that a fun thing for you to play? Because obviously there is not that vibe off screen. You guys, like you said, everyone in the cast loves each other. But is it fun to get into a room and have that kind of material and just kind of sink your teeth in and go at one another?
Well, Betty and Alice really took two opposite ways of approaching trauma and dealing with it. And so that's why they can't really, bless you, they can't relate and come back to one another because they went full opposite. Yeah. And do we like fighting? Do we like disagreeing? It is.
No, I mean, it's challenging because
some of the scenes feel repetitive. Like, we've been here before. We've done this.
But then that's kind of what happens, right? You just keep going in circles in relationships. It's challenging because I always want them to be like mom and daughter, and they're great, and they always throw yet another thing that puts them at odds with each other. So I think it's kind of fun to watch and see that navigation. I think that's common with young ladies and
but they
their
love
mothers.
each other.
Whenever
which is why they fight.
Yeah, first push comes to shove, or they're in peril, they have each other's backs no matter what.
100%. I've read about, I'm sure all the fans in this room have read about the upcoming episode, the flashback episode that we're all very excited about, where you guys get to play younger versions of your parents and stuff. Did you guys, did two of like the four of you pair off and talk about, okay, how do I become Alice? What is a young Alice like? And how do I become a young Fred and stuff like that? What did that process?
Well, KJ said, how do I become a young Alice? And I said... Don't do it, bud. Don't do it. You should try and be a young Fred.
Yeah.
And yeah. And he did it, and he did it well.
Yeah.
That is how it played out. That's how it worked.
Yeah. No, it was fun because Luke has a very me and Luke know each other very well.
Pretty well.
So it was really fun for me to do that. I had to tone it down a little bit though. The writers had to tell me to.
I liked what he did a table read, and he was way more Luke than what ended up on screen.
I know.
I loved.
That's why Roberto asked me to stay
what
back.
everybody.
Yeah. Oh, in trouble.
Because then it becomes a little comedic.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And
you got to skirt that line, and you guys kind of tap dance all over it. Like the performances never become comedic, but there is sort of a heightened realism and a heightened drama that takes place, and you guys kind of nail that tone, which is really exciting. But I want to hang because you guys are very close, and I've been watching the two of you kind of have fun little moments over there together. Luke, you've traversed the same territory before. Leading man, very popular show, dedicated fan base. Have you imparted?
Wait, he's worked before this?
He did one other thing prior to this. He did one. If you go to his IMDb,
You knew who he was
it's
before
this
Riverdale?
and then nothing except for one other thing.
I was just checking.
Did you impart? You're a legend. You know that. I don't want to embarrass you, but you're both legends. But did you impart any wisdom into KJ about how to navigate this crazy world?
Again, I'm just getting started, Mädchen.
I know. You're finding your way.
No,
I get it.
Figuring it out.
The real wisdom that I have tried to pass is just do your work as well as you can. That is the only important thing. All this other stuff, it ain't it. The important thing is to show up on time, be great to the crew as nice as you can, and we just take it scene by scene. As long as you do that, I think we'll all be okay. Can't make any promises for anything else, but we will absolutely do the best we can scene by scene.
It's pretty amazing. We enjoy watching you. We're going to go in a little bit to audience Q&A, but I want to keep talking about this for a little while longer because we've got... I want to talk about a couple other things. KJ, you can currently, not only do we got the premiere coming out, but you're in a pretty amazing movie that's out right now, and I'm curious, going from like we said, the heightened reality and the kind of high school here to a story that is very much grounded in reality and of our time and the hate you give. I'm wondering what that was like for you and sort of how you had to calibrate your performance entirely and come into this different world.
Yeah, I was super excited to be a part of that film. It kind of just everything worked out perfectly. That literally the first day of shooting for that was the day after the last day of shooting for Riverdale. So I literally went straight over to Atlanta and got stuck in. But yeah, it was.
Did you dye your hair?
Yeah,
immediately?
dyed the hair back, which kind of helps as well because I feel like I'm a different person when I'm back into the dark hair. But yeah, I mean, it's a really powerful movie. I think it's in a really important movie, especially for today's world. But yeah, it was good.
It's interesting you talk about how the dark hair can make such a difference for you, and I wonder because part of this show is the aesthetic. It's not just the hair, but the costumes. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. It's like, what year is it on this show?
Yeah.
Like,
No, but that's what's great. I think they incorporate some classic feel to it. Like you don't know what time period is, and yet it's still modern. There's still phones that everybody's texting on, but it's also very classic.
But all the cars are
diner.
70s. Like all the cars
Yeah,
are classic.
all
the cars are classic.
Yeah, it's pretty great that.
It is really cool. So you must very much feel immersed when you're on the set and you guys are doing this. And I imagine that goes a long way to helping you finding that tone and finding your voice for the characters and stuff.
Yeah, it's huge how much like wardrobe and stuff helps you get into that. Like,
we really have a tremendous crew for that in terms of the sets and the feel of all that stuff and all the props. We have a fantastic props department to put the best stuff in your hands and that all.
And with Alice, and she takes on different personas, it seems, every season. So she's super uptight with her tweed jacket and her button up and her tight skirts and her Spanx and everything, and then now she's full on hippie Alice, so she's like flowing and crystals everywhere.
There are crystals all over the crew house.
It helps with my journey with Alice of what is she obsessing over at the moment.
Yeah.
How is she trying to escape?
Lily, I don't think you can reveal this for risk of spoilers, but we kind of got a sense that she was, I don't know, seeking closure, but like when you confront your dad at the end of the season and you kind of walk out of that room and close those doors, I got concerned again as a fan that we wouldn't see the black wig ever again.
You're not going to.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
I refuse.
Oh, you don't like it?
No. I told Roberto, I was like, that's it.
We're good.
We're done. We did it. It's fine. No. Done.
Did you see the latest little teaser?
Yes, I did. It's me like walking over Dark Betty and like she's gone,
goodbye.
She's dead.
Yeah, it was like their way to say goodbye to the black
which
wig.
is true because the black wig is gone. Because I think there was some, people were calling Dark Betty and just imagining Betty in a wig and lingerie, and that's really not what it was. It was kind of, that was a very angsty thing to do, trying to drown someone in a hot tub, very angsty thing to do. I mean, now I think of dark Betty as just when she has when her rage and anxiety from inside kind of just overflows. It's not the wig and it's not the outfits or the being a cam girl. It's just her inner demons kind of coming out when you see Betty do her self-harm again this season when she's under traumatic, circumstances and under pressure and stress. So she's obviously still battling those demons. But yeah, I think because the wig and the lingerie kind of made it seem
like you had a dual personality.
Right, but also it wasn't it was almost too campy to represent a darkness.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
No, this girl has real demons and it's not like a character, it's her. And so that's what my whole thing about the wig and the whole thing was. It's nope, it's just one girl. It's just her inner demons coming out, and it's her rage and bubbling inside.
That's a really interesting perspective, and I get why the wig's gone. That makes a lot of sense.
Also, it was really ugly.
It was. You can't argue. Yeah, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Luke, it's amazing considering you've done one other thing in this that I was looking at. You're in it.
Yeah.
You're currently working on a Tarantino film, and I don't think you can say anything about that, but I'd love it if you could talk about.
I was
how
so
much
excited when I heard.
It's so incredible and so exciting. If there is anything you can tell us, what that experience has been like thus far on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there, and what that's going like.
It was pretty great. We shot film. We got to shoot real film, and we haven't done that for a while, and that was great. No cell phones on the set. Yeah, that was the other thing. 0 cell phoneage on the set, and that was pretty great because it really does make you. It just takes you into it more. You're not distracted by all the stuff, and when you're working on something like that with someone like that, you need to be there to serve the piece and serve your director 100%, no distractions.
It's fascinating to think of.
It was pretty great.
Thank you for sharing that. The idea of no cell phones. When I think of how social media heavy, the Riverdale phenomenon has been, and how you guys have kind of been rocketed to, on the one level, film and TV stardom, but also social media stardom simultaneously. All of this at once. Can you fathom a season of Riverdale where no phones on set, no anything, no technology?
It'd be really cool.
I could imagine that.
Yeah.
Would you welcome
I
it?
don't think it would ever happen.
Probably never going to see it, but...
I think we enjoy our phones.
Yeah.
I mean, there are obviously a lot of downsides to social media. There's a lot of bullying. There's a lot of angry people just trying to be angry and trying to be offended by things. And, looking past all of that, there's also a really great way to communicate with fans. And one of my favorite things is seeing the live tweets and seeing the reactions and seeing how invested people are. It just makes me really happy. And it's really exciting, It's like when we're trending on Twitter, or it just means people are watching and people care and they're paying attention, and that's just really cool to me. That's what I like about it.
That's all you're asking for when you're out there putting in the work, the long days and nights. Yeah, are you guys still filming? Are you done with season 3? No, you're still working on it. Yeah, you're not even...
We're on episode 8 out of 22.
Oh my God.
So no.
Why are you here right now? God bless you. That's
We wanted to come see you.
Oh, Mädchen, please. That is way too kind. I'll give you the money that I said I'd pay.
Okay, great.
That's perfect.
Or your kicks, either one.
You nailed it. That was perfect. We've got 3 questions? Okay. I've got a million. You know what? You guys are way more important than me. Let's do this. We've got microphones in the room. I want to get some questions from the audience. Looks like the first one's right here.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, I love the show. You guys are phenomenal and a joy to watch. My question is, how do you guys emotionally prepare for filming the most challenging scenes of the show?
I mean, the most challenging for me was when Alice goes to tell FP that she had his child and that child died. And what was really weird about that is it kept getting pushed in the schedule. So we filmed it probably 2 months after the episode, and so much more had happened emotionally. So it was really hard for me to get back to that, where I was supposed to be in that place. And we filmed it at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. So it was a really like strange, but you know, just Skeet was there for me and he took me aside and we had a moment to bond. And so I just rely on all of these amazing fellow thespians to get me there.
Also, I mean, I know you do it. You always have your headphones in when you're, you know, about to shoot something emotional. It helps create a mood in your head and kind of create
And
like
block you out from like just set.
everyone talking about camera angles. It's like, you know, you don't have to
gets you
hear
there.
any of that. It's just focusing on your work, which is helpful.
Do you cultivate like a specific playlist depending on the mood you
Yeah, it'll be
into?
like a
and,
certain song I'll probably play on
So it'll be
repeat.
like a
Something
song,
that just
yeah.
gets me there emotionally, and just I don't want to hear that we only have 20 minutes left. I don't want to hear that the light went down. You know, like I need to be in that space.
No, that
so.
totally makes sense. Do you? Is there a song you find yourself going back to that's like your go-to? It works for you when you have to get into a particular.
No,
it's of the moment.
Yeah, and there's just new music I find all the time, so
Yeah.
I get obsessed about something new every time. So I just kind of whatever's in my current playlist.
Oh, that's so cool. KJ or Luke, do you have like an equivalent to that, like a thing that you do to get into that space? Is it music?
I mean, I've
push-ups?
seen KJ. KJ just kind of like blocks out the world, goes like this for like a couple minutes, and then he sits up and there's like a beautiful tear rolling down his face. And it is. KJ really just like gets in it, and it's really cool to watch. And people are loud. I'm like, guys, KJ's getting in the zone. It is. You do. You go into this little thing, and it's really sweet. And then you're like, all right, let's hurry up. Let's do it. Because you like don't want to lose the emotion. And
It's weird. That was one of the things that I struggled grasping when I started acting, because I never really wanted to be an actor. And so, although I love it and I enjoy it.
Because you're like really an actor right now. That's.
Yeah, although it's a blessing and I love what I do, when I'm in those situations, having to do those scenes and go to those places emotionally, I think to myself, like, I don't want to do this. Like, I didn't ask for this. Like, why should I do this? So it's gnarly. I don't particularly enjoy it, but
putting yourself through trauma, you know, like the tears, they aren't fake. So you do see us crying, and it's about something. You know that there's actual pain there, so it does suck to have to put yourself through that, but then you're also capturing a really beautiful moment on TV, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure. Luke, were you about? I feel like I might have cut you off from something.
Oh, I just learned my lines and show up.
Got it. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
It's perfect. You're crushing it. We've got a couple more. Two more. Next one's gonna come from right over here.
Hi, I'm Danny, and Riverdale is literally my favorite show. Roberto posted on his Instagram, ABC Riverdale, and for G, he put this gargoyle thing. So is it gonna go supernatural or?
Great question.
It's a really good question.
Gargoyle King.
Gargoyle King. I mean, it's well. Go ahead.
He's not, well, so it's a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. And after I read the first episode and I saw that, you know, written, this creature, I texted Roberto and I said, is there magic in this show? And he said,
right.
Huh?
It's not, right?
No, it's not. He said, no, our show is not supernatural.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great. And I was like, okay, so, you know, it looks like a monster and a creature, and it you know, appears to be that
very
way.
mysterious.
But it's not like magic. There is no magic or supernatural elements. It's not like a ghost or a ghoul. This is not Scooby-Doo. Well,
KJ seems
a little
relieved
bit.
to hear that, by
Yeah.
the way. He seems
I'm like, do you not?
No, I'm gutted.
Oh, sorry. I crushed his dreams.
Because Archie should wake up one morning and just be able to fly. Just be sick.
Great. Well, I do notice, and I have to get up to point this out.
Yes.
Archie's head is 3
Isabel.
times bigger than
Yeah,
that
right.
man's head. So that's his superpower.
Than any of us.
It's large.
Yeah.
It's large.
That's actually a wig as well.
That's why. Okay. Anyway.
Pulling
But
the
that,
curtain all the way back.
creature at the bottom of the poster is has to do with the gargoyle king.
These little antlers.
So all that
antlers down
creepy
there.
stuff, that's what you're gonna be.
That's
seeing.
related to the gargoyle.
I
That's
mean,
what you're gonna be having nightmares
this
about.
season is really freaking creepy. Like it
Roberto loves the scary.
creeps me out.
Yeah, he loves
And
the scary.
The first episode, the last minute of it, like makes my heart race. It's really weird and scary and gonna give you nightmares, I hope.
That's really exciting. That was a great question. Thank you. What I got one more. All right, where is it going to be? Microphone right here. Go ahead.
Hi. First of all, you guys and the entire cast are like absolutely beautiful human beings, and I just thought I'd point that out.
It takes one to know one.
Thank you. Anyways, my question was, how many of you guys read the Archie comics before you signed up or auditioned or, had this part? And what did you draw from the comics?
Well, I did because, when I was a kid, comic books was pretty much all we had other than, actual television and movies. And so I consumed a lot of comics, and Archie was a big chunk of that. It was just always there. It was light reading. It didn't, give me the nightmares or any of the things that our show does because we've taken it in a different direction. But, yeah, I read some
Miss
Archie.
Grundy wasn't as...
Yeah, Miss Grundy. I would say that. In the comic books, Miss Grundy was this old woman. She had a bird's nest in her hair, and you questioned her hygiene. But our Miss Grundy was nothing like that, clearly. Yeah.
I did not. I was not familiar with the comics at all. But I quickly learned about it and read some as soon as I knew that it was.
I was much simpler folk. I liked Snoopy and Garfield and really short, really simple versions. Archie was a lot more. You had to get really invested, and you had to really follow the story. Character driven. Yeah. I just liked the fun pictures of the other stuff. But I enjoy trying to find Alice in the old comic books because she doesn't show up very often, so it's fun to see her. Very old-fashioned 50s mom.
I didn't read the comics growing up, but when I booked the role, I got sent a huge box of them. So now I have a bunch of them, and I read all of them and thought about how lucky I was that I was studying for a role and I was just reading comic books. But I mean,
send me a box.
I know.
Sorry. You can borrow mine if you want. No, they're all Betty and Veronica digests. But I mean, Betty is so different in the comics than she is now. But what I could draw from it was just her optimism and I don't know, her ambition, and that she's pretty strong and driven. She's a very driven young woman, so that's what I could draw from that.
Thank you. That was great. Your questions were awesome. As an audience, you were all very awesome, and you guys are amazing. I got to wrap it up. I have one last. I had two for me. I felt like they might have been silly questions. One was, what time does this take place? We talked about that already. Here's the other one. The food at Pops. Does it look? Is it as good as it looks? Historically, TV food is awful, and it's there to serve a purpose and look a certain way. I almost don't want to know the answer. I see it in your face.
I gotta tell you, Scotty and Kayla, they work really hard, and they put
So
good
our
food.
props.
They put good food in front of us.
People who make the food. We have Pops, and then right behind it, there's a little shack. It's called Carol's Snack Shack.
Yeah,
and it's a woman apparently named Carol back there, and she makes all the food that we eat in there. But a lot of it is just for looks. A lot of the ice cream sometimes is
mashed potatoes.
No, it's not mashed potatoes. It's margarine. I don't know, so it doesn't melt or something. But I ask for the real thing.
Yeah.
So mine's a vanilla milkshake, not yogurt crap or anything like that.
Doesn't matter to me. I spit it out.
I don't care what it tastes like. I just want it to
No,
be
you
clean,
don't.
right? You don't know how many people were touching
I've seen you
food.
down those chocolate milkshakes.
Yeah, well, hold
Before
on.
we even start rolling, he's like,
Yeah,
I know.
I have been in a scene with KJ where the scene was I come in and he and Jughead are in the kitchen and they're having a pizza. They ate the entire pizza in rehearsal. They went through a half a pizza in another
I almost had a heart attack. That's when I had to go to the
You
hospital.
ate a pizza and a half. And then we had to film the scene. And then he had to eat pizza in the scene. So these guys clean up.
Hart Denton, who plays Chick, what do you do? I'm always worried about him because every time he comes on set, and especially when Alice was making all of the great breakfasts, and they do make really good food, he eats from the moment he sits down in rehearsal to when he walks away. He's I'm like, do you have a tapeworm?
The bacon is good.
Yeah.
Bacon is good.
Yeah, no, he loves it, and now they've prepared. When he's on set, they have to make a lot of extra food because he'll just sit there and he'll just eat the entire time.
His presence alone has
they have to
impacted
make
the amount of food.
they have to make extra food for when Hart's on set.
That's impressive.
Well, there's
So
an
I think
episode,
that's
the
a
flashback
good
episode when you're telling me the story of young Alice. I'm sitting there eating cookies, and I had a lot of those things. They were really good.
Yeah, that's the thing I always imagine is that as good as it looks, you guys naturally have to eat a lot of it to get through. Like there was a
really
scene.
Make a choice. Am I really going to start to eat this? Because I have to eat it like about 100 times.
You're just gonna have to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one I loved where KJ, you and Cole were just like in the middle of the day just having ice cream for lunch at one point. Like
There's
back
always milkshakes. It could be
yeah,
like
there's
5 in the
milkshakes
morning.
all over the place, and I was just like, I don't know how they do it, man. It's pretty. Yeah.
It was dinner time though.
It was dinner. It was dinner time. You're just having ice cream. Well, look, all right. That was my other silly question. I feel a personal sense of closure that I got to talk to you about the food on Riverdale. Yes. I want to thank you guys again so much for being here. I know it's a long road and you got a long one ahead of you. You got to go back and finish. But it's awesome that we got you to carve out some time and hang out with us on the stage.
Thanks for having us.
Congratulations on season 3. Everybody knows when it's happening. It's a couple of days away, October 10th, the CW. Yay. You cannot miss it. Everybody, and please, Wednesday. Crazy amount of noise. Let's do it up. Thank everybody from here. Lili, Mädchen, KJ, Luke, the whole 9. Thank you.